Good morning. It's Dispeller and Happy New Year. And as you can see, I just woke up, but there's never a bad time to do a book reading. So we're doing this How to Heal a Broken Heart in 30 Days book reading. We are on day 19. It's called Realities. That's the name of the chapter of the book. I don't know who's up. A lot of you have been partying hard last night, bringing in the new year. And so I'm going to begin with the reading. And as always, if you have questions or comments, try to hold them till the end because I won't be able to look over at your comments while I'm reading this book. Not too well anyway. I'll try, but I make no guarantees. All right, so the title of this one is Exorcise, as in like exorcisms, I guess. One conclusion that will help you move forward is to face the fact that your ex was not the one, not even close. Perhaps your parents or friends told you that this was the one. Perhaps your fantasies declared that this was the one. And even your palm reader agreed, which I recommend you go to a palm reader. But again, disclaimer, I did not write this book. I'm just reading the book. And I don't read the chapters ahead of time all the time to know what they say. So if it's talking about something that you're like, that's not you, you're right, it's not. Okay, and of course, who wants to wind up being alone? Hi, Sue, good morning. But what do outsiders know about intimate relationships? Some traditionalists are almost militant in insisting that hope mixed with willingness can make any relationship endurable and that love can work miracles. Well, that's true. And love can even alter chemistry and render tasteful those prospects that may have at first seemed not to be your cup of tea. But chemical reactions arise from combining two substances, not just by setting them next to each other. You really can bring miracles to your life, but your love alone cannot revive a dead relationship. Stay at such a task for too long, and you'll only wind up hurting yourself. Many of the pre-boomer generation will disagree with this view, citing that their own enduring relationships prove that constancy conquers all. You'll often hear them talk about how hard one of them worked to make their marriage work. Their singular dedication was apparently unshakable. Have times really changed? Those singular commitments to lonely but long-standing marriages may have once sounded admirable, but everything evolves, including equanimity and reciprocity in love. And if only one partner winds up doing all the emotional work needed to maintain a relationship, the party is going to be over sooner or later. No couple could ever make such an uneven love work in a way that permits both people to keep their self-respect. Today, everyone knows to demand better from love. Let's look through the other end of the telescope. Were you your ex's ideal partner? If you were to describe such an individual, what would he or she be like? Oh, that's an easy one. Enjoy gossip, slander, smearing, abuse, talking against people. Yeah, pretty much. Does this description match you? Nope. If not, what does this teach you? To steer clear of people that are like that. If it teaches you nothing, perhaps it's because, even though you're no longer wild about your ex at this point, you still sometimes miss some of the familiar comforts that grow up in every relationship. No, I don't miss any of the perversion, the backstabbing, the smearing. No, I don't miss any of it. That's the demon of self-defeating desires speaking to you with the voice of the past. There's one way to exorcise that demon, and that is to make it tell you the truth. The truth is that it's over, and the real one may actually be waiting for you in your future. That truth is that you have better things to do now than anguish about having lost not the one, but the zero. Wow, okay. Good point. I never thought about it that way. The person that you lost was not the one. You just thought they were. They were a one, but they weren't the one. So now you make room for the one person to come into your life. I hope I find that this year. I don't know who it is, but I hope I find the one. Maybe somebody I can partner with on YouTube. And I'm not talking about my husband. I'm talking about like a female friend that we can have stuff in common with and kind of bounce ideas off of each other. A Word of Faith woman would be great if I could find that. That'd be great. Or a Messianic Jewish woman would be good too. But yeah, we'll see how that all works out if I find the one friend person. Tip 19, Relaxation Prescription. Stress is your worst enemy. How can you calm yourself down when your world seems to be racing to hell in a handcart? Forget about illicit drugs. We strongly suggest that you try meditation instead. This form of disciplined contemplation is not just a means for mystical transportation, it's now an accepted tool of contemporary medicine. Ever since Harvard's Dr. Herbert Benson's best-selling book, The Relaxation Response, was published in 1975, doctors have prescribed meditative techniques to relieve such symptoms as sleeplessness, high blood pressure, anxiety, and panic attacks, and other stress-related afflictions. Any number of religious traditions, including Christianity and Judaism, have evolved their own meditative systems. The universal idea behind these practices is that the voice of God can be heard by anyone who finds the right spot on his or her mental radio dial to listen to the station. That's hard for most because our minds are so accustomed to being busy. As the Buddhists put it, our consciousness is like a monkey forever chattering. Most systems of meditation call for ignoring the monkey's chatter for long enough that he gets bored and shuts up. That's when you can begin to tune your mental radio to more interesting material. It takes many meditators years of practice before they begin to reach more elevated states of consciousness. That doesn't matter for our purposes here, however. We'd like you to explore the foothills of this territory rather than its summits. So here's how to practice meditation for stress reduction in a way that will produce noticeable benefits within 30 days. Set aside 20 minutes twice a day for meditative sessions. Now, I'm going to encourage you, because I'm a Bible follower, to not just blank out your mind for empty meditation practices, but to pray, to talk to your Creator. I'll be right back. And not just zone out or zen out or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to let the cat in. I mean, have like a purposeful reason for the meditating situation. Hold on a minute. And definitely talk to somebody, not just randomly being blank. You know, that's not what I'm all about. Because I am a Bible follower, I believe the effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much. What that means is, if your heart is right with God and your spirit is right with God, then you meditate towards Him and you ask Him to touch your life and reveal to you what you're supposed to do with it, etc. Okay. Watch out, kitty. I'm tripping over cats here. Okay. So let's talk about this meditation that they're suggesting here. So you're going to get into a comfortable chair, close your eyes, and let your mind go empty. Yeah, don't do that. Don't let your mind go empty. Just close your eyes. We'll stop at that. Your mind's going to keep going back and forth to things, and you'll start remembering things, and you'll start trying to work through things automatically. But your challenge is to just watch the thoughts and let the thoughts go. They come and they go. And they will do that. Trust me, thoughts will do that. Okay, so then they want you to do a mantra. I'm not talking about that stuff. That's new agey, not going there. Imagine yourself submerged under an ocean of air, and that your vagrant thoughts are like bubbles that float up and away from you to the top of the sky. This part I think is important. When I say don't blank out, I mean don't let the worrisome thoughts get in there. Don't let the, what am I going to make for dinner later? Or did I make that appointment? Did I pay that bill? That's what you want to blank out of your head while you're trying to be in a meditative or prayerful state. Okay. If meditation is too frustrating for you, another technique that's often used to induce sleep or self-hypnosis may be a viable alternative called progressive relaxation. It's a great way to learn to put yourself completely at ease. This works. I do this every night, actually. So what you're going to do whenever you feel stressed out, find a place to be by yourself. Lie down for about 10 minutes. Now they're telling you to focus on your left foot as you count to 15. Pay attention to making all the muscles in your left foot completely relaxed. So what they're going to do is they're going to go from head to toe or toe to head, and they're going to get you to relax every part of your body. They go through your left calf, relax all the muscles, then your left thigh, all the way up. The Honest Guys videos that I watch or listen to, they do that automatically. They'll walk you through all of that. So that's a quicker way to go through all of that. And it does work, and it relaxes you enough so you can sleep, usually anyway. All right, so there's another one. Meditative tech. Do you have access to a computer with a CD-ROM unit, sound card, modem, and internet connection? What is a CD-ROM? I don't even remember. That's like old term for computer. Does anybody remember talking about CD-ROMs? I couldn't even tell you what it is anymore. Okay, so now you can make your own brain calming, self-hypnotic, or meditative audio tape recordings. Just download an audio editing program called Cool Edit 2000. I bet it doesn't even exist. This book is from like 2000 something. They're just talking about how to use the CD-ROM thing. So then you can transfer everything to tape, and you have your playbacks, as we call them, playlist or whatever. So they're just basically talking about meditation here. All right, let's do day 20, because that was a really quick chapter and all about meditation, and I'm really not down with all that to an extent, but not to the extent they were getting all into it. So now we're going to do day 20, exchanges. In an unhealthy relationship, a host of small affronts can collect over time into a profound sense of injury. These events are not necessarily legible in what either party says or does, or even doesn't do. They're in the nuances, savage little ambushes that strike when folks least expect them. These terrible nuances are always subtle. They're often very clever, and because they generally fly in well below your defensive screens, you don't know why they hurt. You only know that they do. So to the uninvolved eye, your attacker appears innocent, and you are made to feel foolish. Ooh, now this is my chapter here. Cool. When your feelings are hurt, when you feel victimized in some fashion, it's only natural to tell others about it and then try to gain support and resolve the cause of your pain. But in a troubled romantic relationship or friendship, in what you once called love or caring, all bets are off. When hurting becomes chronic, it's easy to get in the habit of trying to hold others responsible for your own failings, or the bonds that once held you can become ever more entangled because you too greatly needed the praise from a friend or a lover, and so became dependent on what he or she had to say. And as those once loving words were artfully twisted, the ground around the roots of your relationship gradually eroded. True. In sum, that person who was supposed to lift you up kept you dangling, or worse, put you down. That was enough to convince you that you are a fairly inadequate friend or lover. Now that you scramble your way over the face of the planet, feeling a cloud of scorn following wherever you go. And whenever you meet new people, apply for new jobs, or see old friends, you're really not feeling like you're completely there. In fact, you're not. You're diminished. Why? Because your ex more or less told you that you are less. As of this day, you must declare that you are no longer X-rated. You no longer need the approval from someone who isn't even in your life anymore. Why let his or her ghost judge you? Why let anyone judge you? The only approval you truly need is your own, or God's. So start peeling away those other people's labels and get to know the you underneath all over again. You can help yourself do so by briefly describing the one thing your ex did often that made you think less of yourself. Do you still have this kind of experience with any other group of people, friends, or coworkers? If so, write down 3 of the negative things you do when these kind of experiences make you feel bad about yourself. Okay, let's talk about that. So we're going to describe the one thing the ex often did to me that made me think less of myself. Mocked me. It's what they do best. When they mock me, it doesn't really make me think less of myself, but it makes me feel bad, if that makes sense. So yeah, mocking. Do I have this experience with any other people, friends, or coworkers? No, I don't. I mean, other than people that hang with the ones that do that, I don't have that experience. People don't treat me like that normally. To me, that's not normal to say stuff like that about people, to doubt things that are obvious. But it's the internet, so people know that people can be anything they want to be, and they assume that that's what I'm doing, and yet it's not. So it still makes me feel like I have to defend myself and prove who I am. And everybody knows on YouTube, receipts are the thing, you know. Oh, do you have the receipts? Do you have proof? Don't believe anything without proof. That's not how the real world works. People believe people at face value when they say something because they know the person's character. And somebody's not going to say something if they don't mean it or if it's not true in a normal situation. However, people that are narcissistic, that do this kind of stuff, that do act shady, that do make up stuff and pretend they're somebody they're not, often suspect that everybody's doing that because they do it. So that's their reach, that's their world. It's like, well, I do this, so of course everybody lives their life this way. So surely if somebody's saying something about themselves, then it can't be true because after all, this is the narcissist talking. If I do it, then I guess that's how everybody lives their life. But beep, wrong answer. It's not true. Okay, so it says write down 3 negative things you do when these kinds of experiences make you feel bad about yourself. 3 negative things I do. I come on here and I talk about it, even covertly. I go against the situation by reporting it. I talk to other people about it because I'm frustrated and I feel like I'm an extrovert. So my way of coping has always been going to other people to discuss things. So those are 3 negative things. Do you understand why you feel bad? Yes, because it's not true and I hate being lied about. I hate being misrepresented, especially by somebody that knew the truth to begin with. And when they were close with me, if you want to call it that, they didn't treat me that way. They knew that I was legit. They didn't question it. They didn't expose it as if I did or said something wrong. So, yeah, that's why. What do you think really keeps you from feeling good about yourself? I feel good about myself except on YouTube. That's the only place I don't feel good about myself, honestly. So there isn't really anything keeping me from feeling good about myself. Now, there are things keeping me from feeling good in general. Knowing what is being said, knowing people are believing it. Hi, PUBG. That makes me feel icky when somebody believes lies about me. Are you willing to do whatever it takes to get rid of these negative feelings? Eventually. All that you may need to do is change your perspective. For example, try wishing for what you most fear. Huh? Try wishing for what you most fear? Okay, let's explore more on this. This is interesting. In praise of paradox. Say one thing, do another. Most of us say that about the way other people behave. Sometimes we even recognize that we do it ourselves. We humans are by our nature self-contradicting creatures. Viktor Frankl, father of logotherapy, which is the psychology of meaning, carries the insight 2 steps further. As a wish is father to the thought, notes Frankl, so fear is the mother of the event. What's your help that you need, PUBG? Said another way, it is a paradox of our behavior that what we most fear, we will do. We too often will do despite ourselves. Walk into a crowded room being afraid of blushing or stammering, and you're almost certain to light up like a stuttering beet. Okay. I don't know what that means. None of that. What we most fear we will do, we too often will do despite ourselves. So what I'm afraid of doing, I find myself doing, I guess is what that's saying. Frankl teaches that fear can be realistic and thus immune to release by his therapy of meaning, as an example, the fear of death. Or it can be neurotic, in which case he suggests a wonderful trick of emotional jujitsu, which he calls paradoxical intent. Form an excessively forceful intention to act in a certain way, and you can almost be certain that you will fail. Oh, so like if you set up yourself to say, well, I'm not going to do this, you're going to end up doing it, basically. So you're going to do the opposite. For example, a man determines to be potent or a woman to... Now we're not going to get into that. That's not appropriate. You feel a bad addiction? Okay, spell it out for me and I'll see what I can do to direct you in the right way. So a man determines to do something, we'll say, because this is getting into stuff I'm not talking about. His very determination preoccupies him so that he fails at whatever it is he's trying to do. We'll say, like, get a job to support his... I don't know what you're talking about, PUBG. You have to spell out what your addiction is to me. I know that addictive behaviors require a lot of therapy and a lot of help from people that are experienced in it. So, and this completely prevents him from forcing his wish to come true because he's so preoccupied with it. The man is trying to get a job so bad to support his wife, and he's miserable. So when he goes to the interviews, he's failing at them. He's not getting the job because he's so preoccupied with the fear of not getting one. Are you irrationally afraid that you will never get over your friend or lover? Then try making any of the following wishes and see if you can force them to come true. Are you worried that your ex always seems to be on your mind? Well, if you're a 17-year-old boy, then you don't belong in my channel. Sorry. You'll have to go and get some therapy from somebody that is a true therapist. I am not a therapist. And I cannot be talking about that stuff in my chat room. Sorry. If you're not 18 or older, then you should not even be in my room. Okay. Next. And also, people that come in my room stick to the topic. They do not divert from the topic. You can contact me privately if you like, and I will talk to your parent about whatever your issue is, but I'm not going to discuss with a person under 17 or under 18 anything private. You do need to seek a therapist or AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, if you have an alcohol addiction, or Codependence Anonymous if you have a codependency addiction, like a relationship addiction. But I am not qualified to be giving any counsel like that on here. So, okay. All right. So are you irrationally afraid that you will never get over your friend? Then try making any of the following wishes and see if you can force them to come true. Are you worried that your ex always seems to be on your mind? Then wish that a full day will go by with your thinking only about him or her. Urge your mind to think about the good times or the bad, or the things you most miss about him or her, whatever seem to be the typical thoughts that have preoccupied your attention in the past. After how many minutes do you discover that your mind insists on wandering to more interesting topics? Well, I think I've kind of done that when I thought about people that had ditched me and relationships that ended. And it didn't take long at all for my mind to want to do something else, like a puzzle or painting or singing or dancing. Because I really, in my normal day, do not obsess over people, believe it or not. It's really just what people are saying about me on here that makes me go, whatever I go. I don't know. It makes me irritated when I'm being lied about. Okay, are you worried about how much you're crying about your loss and your loneliness? I have not cried one moment over this person that didn't work out with. Not one moment. Because honestly, I had made my mind and in my heart that I was done. So when I was done, I was done. That was it, as far as connection with that. Then make up your mind to cry for a full hour or a full day, whatever will set the record for your personal best cry. See how long it takes before your crying jag dies a natural death. I see what they're saying. Do the opposite. Do you find yourself talking about your ex-friend, your ex-lover, or your loss to excess? Are your friends getting turned off with listening to your grieving or to your complaints? Get yourself a tape recorder and lots of blank tapes. Well, we don't really use tape recorders anymore. Just make yourself an audio tape or audio recording on the computer. Make up your mind to record the history of your relationship with your ex, ex-friend, ex-lover, detailing every last inch of your grievances and your pain. See how many hours or minutes it takes before you find that you just don't have the energy anymore for such a fruitless exercise. Yeah, and I think that's why people that are still bashing me have the energy for it, because it's a day after day thing. It's not a constant all day for hours and hours thing, not usually. So they can get a break in between and then start up again, So if they did it all at once, that would be the end of it. Whatever your problem, make up your mind to do it to an extreme degree until you begin to gain some further insight into its meaning to you. Ultimately, what will redeem you, bring you back to your common sense, and your sense of humor. All of these exercises will ultimately make you realize the absurdity of your irrational fears. Okay, there we go. So that is done. That was chapters 19 and 20. And that's all I have to say or read on that. Does anybody have any takeaways or input? Because I know that the numbers lie, as people say. Don't look at the number in the room. The numbers lie. So anybody, excuse me, have anything you want to say or add? Anything you want to talk about? Let me know. You guys know you're unblocked in here. I posted that the other day and I took it down because I'm like, well, they'll figure it out sooner or later that everybody's unblocked. So you can come and address me directly if you choose. Just know that I'm only talking about me and nobody else. I'm not discussing other people's private business that I should have never brought to YouTube to begin with. Not my business. So if y'all have anything you want to say to me or ask me, now would be the time. I will wait for a minute. If nobody asks anything or says anything, I will definitely close down this live stream. So it's up to you. If you have questions you want to answer to, you go ahead and ask me. I don't think there's a lot of people on live right now, so I'm probably going to work on my painting a little bit more. I'm going to do a puzzle today, and I'm definitely going to reorganize my kitchen like extremely today because I'm sick of the way it is. I don't like stuff everywhere. It's driving me crazy. Okay, well, there are more people coming into the room, I see, so I won't leave quite yet. Nope, just lost one. Maybe. So I think many people on here will probably be ending their joust or whatever, jaunt, I believe it is, on YouTube because of the way people are treated on here. I, on the other hand, am not leaving because this is just what I do. It's part of my life. And I will always come back for more. Maybe not more abuse necessarily, but more sharing, more stuff to tell you guys about whatever. Because YouTube is kind of my hobby, and helping people is my walk in life. It's what I do, what I've always done. Well, for a long time anyway, since 2008. So yeah, I'm not going anywhere. But I am going to paint a little bit while I'm waiting to see if anybody wants to say anything. I'll do one color, and then if nobody's chatting by then, I will simply sign off and go probably figure out what I'm doing about breakfast, that sort of thing. Man, I miss the days when I could just look down and do what I was doing instead of lifting my glasses up because everything's blurry. That's annoying. Seriously. All right, let's see. One. Okay. E. Maybe E. No, not E either. I think I'll paint the windows. That might be a good idea. Let's do the 5s. All right, well, this hair. I got to figure out something to do with this hair, seriously. I don't want to get it cut again. I want it to grow in. But while it's growing in, it's looking all squirrely. Thankfully for my job, I wear a little hat, so it's covered. But this squirrely stuff everywhere is driving me crazy. I can't stand it. I'll probably just wear a hairband if it gets that bad and annoying. Let's see, 5 blue. I don't know, honestly, I kind of equate myself to somebody else that comes on here, a guy that just sort of sits there and waits for people to say stuff while he's doing stuff. It's kind of how I do it. I don't know any other way to do it because eventually somebody comes in that wants to have a conversation. He's right about that. Just got to wait it out, see who comes in. Sometimes I miss college because college was so cut and dry. It's like they ask you a question and there's only one right answer, really. I mean, unless it's some kind of ethical thing or whatever, then they let you answer however you're going to answer. But for the most part, somebody asks you something and it's just you've studied and you spit back out the answer that you were taught. But on here, it's like you have to kind of think and come up with your own stuff. And that's difficult for me sometimes. One thing I did do to help my future in the year 2022 is deleted a lot of my subscriptions on here so that mostly what's coming up is like prayerful stuff, godly things, chat rooms that are more holy, I guess you could say, more religious, as some would say, I guess. So I don't see a bunch of the gossipy, he said, she said baloney coming up on my channel anymore as much as I did before. I didn't realize that by deleting subscriptions and subscribing to new types of subscriptions, that kind of eliminates how much of the stuff that you see that you don't want to see. But now I know. So now I will keep my subscriptions cleaned up and be on top of that. My tummy's starting to growl, so it must be time to eat shortly. And of course, I'll sign off to do that. I'm not going to keep this on all day, this live stream. Especially since nobody's really talking. Probably people are sleeping or doing whatever they do on New Year's Day. Going to church, maybe. I don't know. Do churches still have New Year's services? I can remember going to Catholic church on New Year's. Pretty sure. I'm here. I'm just painting the inside of a windowsill. It's really touchy. Need a tinier brush for this one. Okay, this is getting boring for me. Waiting and waiting for anybody to say anything. So I think I will probably get going. You guys have a great day. Be blessed, and we'll see you soon. Shalom. Shabbat shalom.